When the Second World War had been going on for some time, both sides began to use a large number of landmines, especially in the sparsely populated North African battlefield, where landmines became the best blockade weapon, and there are still landmines buried there today. To clear the mines and open up attack routes, an efficient mine-clearing weapon is needed. At the time, the Allies developed many mine-clearing tanks based on the M4 Sherman tank, and this article introduces some of the more unique ones. Combat proved that the high-speed rotating chain flail mine-clearing device was very efficient, but that's another story. At the time, the designers proposed many ideas, some of which were highly feasible, such as the T15. The T15 actually involved installing a mine plow in front of the tank, and after repeated testing, the T15E3 was developed, which looks like the one in the picture. Its mine plow structure was the most suitable, allowing the mine-clearing tank to shovel up the mines as it advanced, and then push them to the sides. If it was an anti-personnel mine, it might be detonated, but that damage would have no effect on the tank. If it was an anti-tank mine, it would not be detonated by the pressure required to trigger it, and would only be pushed to the sides. This design is still in use today. The T8 was a mine-clearing tank designed by Lieutenant Colonel A.R. Williams, who envisioned installing 18 pile drivers in front of the M4 tank, by constantly pounding the ground to prematurely detonate the mines. The hammer head of the steam hammer could move backward, and the impact of the mine blast could blow the hammer head backwards, and then it would return under the action of a huge recoil spring. This was like a flexible structure that avoided the damage from directly hitting the mines. Only 2 prototype T8 vehicles were made. The first had 3 pile drivers, and the second had 6. The test results were not very good, as the hammerheads were easily damaged, so the T8 was not put into production or service. The T9 took a simple road roller-style mine-clearing approach, using the tank to drive a huge roller to prematurely detonate the mines. A long arm drove the roller in front of the tank, maintaining a certain distance to avoid the blast from the mines injuring the tank, and the surface of the roller was covered with 5-inch long metal spikes. There were also 2 prototype T9 vehicles. In testing, it was found that the roller was too heavy on the first vehicle, weighing an exaggerated 38 tons. The weight was reduced to 29 tons on the second vehicle, but it was still an impractical lump of steel, so it was not put into use. Since the cumbersome roller could not be pushed, it was decided to change the tank's running gear to rollers, which would reduce the power burden, resulting in the T10 mine-clearing tank. The T10 had a rear 3-point running gear, so it was also called a tricycle. The front wheel had a diameter of about 2.44 meters, and the huge steel wheels could not only directly detonate the mines, but also raise the tank's ground clearance to reduce mine damage. The tank was also completely reinforced with 25 mm thick steel plates. A tail wheel made up of multiple circular steel pieces was centrally mounted, which could roll over the gap between the front wheels and avoid missing any mines. The T10 looked good, but it was too heavy during testing, and had very poor maneuverability, making it unsuitable for field mine-clearing tasks. The T15 returned to a simpler and more rugged approach. Since adding additional equipment would make the tank too heavy and reduce its maneuverability, the existing structure of the tank was reinforced directly, resulting in the enhanced version of the M4, the T15 mine-clearing tank. From the above photo, it can be seen that the tank's armor and tracks were thickened and reinforced. Despite the turret being removed, the vehicle weighed approximately 33 tons. In testing, the tank withstood damage from anti-tank mines, but suffered some damage to the tracks and gearbox. In actual combat, it would not be possible to repair the tank every time it hit a mine, so the T15 was also not put into use. Ultimately, combat proved that the chain flail-style mine-clearing device was the most effective, so the development of mine-clearing tanks was stopped.